tonight we're going to be talking about the latest release from an artist that you might not think we would actually do it on. But tonight we're going to be talking about Simple Minds' most recent album, Direction of the Heart. Not erection, ladies and gentlemen, just direction. It was bound to happen. It was clearly Mike's idea right there. But I will actually go first tonight talking about this album because I actually, outside of Don't You Forget About Me, this is a pretty good band that I've gotten into the past probably year or so. I did get for this. So when they were announcing that they're going to do another album coming out later this year, and it came out back in October. I was like, okay, you have my attention. I really enjoyed Walk Between Worlds from 2018. It was actually a really unique take. I felt like it was a modern take on the 80s new wave and synth. And to me, this album doubled down on that a little bit. And there were reviews coming out saying it was their best album in 30 years. So, and obviously everyone can think of them from the Breakfast Club, from Don't You Forget About Me, Alive and Kicking, all the things she said, a couple of the other 80s hits that they're known for. But outside of that, no one in the United States, at least as far as I could tell, pays attention to them outside of certain people like myself, which is kind of annoying, but that's okay. That's why we're here to talk about it with Mike and Kyle, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're here. That's why they're here too. Woohoo! I don't know, whatever. But going into this Simple Minds album, you know, a lot of people forget that they're still a band. A lot of people forget that they're still going. And I thought, and when I said, hey, why don't we give this one a shot? They're like, okay, sure, let's give it a shot. So, but what I heard was I was thoroughly entertained. I was very and truthfully impressed by a lot of the different sounds that Simple Minds can still come up with on a different chord progressions, different melodies. As a band, they still kind of have it, in my opinion. As a new wave band from the 80s who's still doing it to this day, I thought this was a pretty good album overall. But I'm curious to see what Mike and Kyle have to say. Who would like to go first, Mike or Kyle?
Mike, you want to take this?
Mike, what do you got?
Kyle. I'm currently.
I'll take it.
All right, Kyle.
All right, I'll take it. Yeah. So, this is news to me that this is their 18th studio album.
Yep,
that's nuts. I only knew 2 songs from them prior to this. I get maybe outside the US, they were a bigger band for many years. I mean, obviously they're still going since the 80s. It's a very, very much doubled down, like you said, on the old 80s synth pop, like electro pop styles, new wave. I'm not a fan of that style. I'm just going to be very forthright with that. Outside of a couple hits, I always found that style to be rather annoying, to be honest. The production on it is great. The production on it actually surprised me. It sounds phenomenal from like a sonic standpoint. The guitars for me are the biggest positive that this has going for it. I actually thought they were extremely well done. Only 2 original members are the vocalist and the guitarist. I guess they work well together. Other than that, this album didn't really do it for me. I'll get into specifics when I get into the track list. It's if you like 80s new wave and electro pop, you might enjoy this. For me, it was a bit of a letdown going into it.
Okay. And Mike, what about you?
I'm kind of sitting somewhere with Kyle on this one. It definitely is. My previous knowledge of the band is not very good. Like, I personally didn't really even know the band by name, and it's kind of like Kyle was saying, a genre that I've kind of only known a couple of different songs from. Excuse me, by the way, I'm hiccuping, so if it seems like I'm pausing a lot or making weird noise, you know what's going on. I definitely found myself feeling like they were saying double down on a certain type of sound, and there wasn't enough twists and turns in this album that I needed structurally, that my brain was pleading for to kind of maintain that kind of like level of momentum. It just seemed like they kind of were really bringing home that they just kind of are still a band from the 80s that are like, you know, has that kind of sound, but like can incorporate some you know, elements of rock and elements of electronics and, you know, this and that, that just kind of would keep their fan base happy. And they didn't take too many risks here. So yeah, I mean, that's my initial feeling on it. On like I was like you saying, I will get into more, you know, emphasis on, you know, what parts of it track, you know, listing wise that I felt like it had some good moments and bad moments.